Welcome to another episode of Say It Loud on GhanaWeb TV. Today, my guest is an MP who recently led a demonstration on bad roads in his constituency that nearly led to his arrest. He has since reported the case to the Speaker of Parliament and is asking that the Ghana Police Service and some of its officers be held in contempt of Parliament. Lawyer Francis-Xavier Kojo Sosu of Madina is my guest today. When we return, we speak about his demonstration, legal education in Ghana, and other matters. Stick and stay. We'll be right back. Welcome back. My name is George Ayisi, and this is Say It Loud. My guest today is Honorable Xavier Francis Kojo Sosu, MP for Adenta constituency. Honorable, welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Your guest, your constituency is Madina, actually.
Yeah, that is correct.
And recently, you led a protest against bad roads.
Mm-hmm.
One would say that as an MP, there are a lot of avenues for you to explore to get some of these issues addressed. Why did you choose to protest?
Well, I get surprised when people talk about a lot of avenues. I don't know what those avenues are. The reality of being a member of parliament and what people think members of parliament can do is completely different. I'm sure for many people in their community, maybe their MPs are supermen. And I mean, they can just make everything happen. All they need to do is to talk to somebody, and then something will happen. So I think that there is this general disconnect between what MPs do and what MPs can do and what constituents think MPs should do, or the MP's ability. And let me quickly add that demonstrations are part of legitimate constitutional political tools that you can use to press home your demands when need be. So you would have to weigh the options, particularly when you have used all the all the diplomatic means of engaging and following up on things and nothing gets done. Then it means that you may have to draw central government attention to the plight. And we are talking about a road that is about 10.5 kilometers long, and then a road that is awarded on contract. And we're talking about 11 million Ghana cedis contract to somebody, and the person has failed to perform. This road was awarded way back in July 2020 and was supposed to be finished or performed by June 2020, and that was not done. And so under those circumstances, you have to use all the legitimate means to get the person to do the job. This one was a project of feeder roads, so we've raised concerns. We've been there with a feeder roads engineer, we've spoken to the assembly, and so the obvious thing that you can do to draw government attention is to demonstrate, and that's exactly what I led them to do.
So on that day, on that fateful day, what happened, and then what happened between you and the police?
Well, I wish I don't really go into details with that, particularly because the matter is currently before the Privileges Committee of Parliament. So I don't want to say things that would prejudice the work of the Privileges Committee. But quickly to add that this demonstration was a lawfully organized demonstration because in the first place, it was a demonstration that came out of a continuous community engagement with the people. And so those people have had a chance to talk with their MP. They've raised concerns about how difficult things were for them. Pregnant women were struggling on that road. Many miscarriages recorded on that road, with trotro drivers and taxi drivers complaining about the number of times they need to maintain their vehicles, and among many other complaints. And at the end of our engagement, we came up with a roadmap that all these concerns, we would need to bring them to the doorsteps of the appropriate authorities. By appropriate authorities, I'm talking about the municipal chief executives, the various engineers that are supposed to be working on this road, as well as the feeder roads and the roads ministry. So this communique was made available to all of them, and with a condition that if the citizens or if the community members do not see any action within 14 days, then they will resort to protests and demonstrations. And so this was made very clear to the authorities that be. Unfortunately, after 14 days, nothing came out of the communique. And this communique was dated 27th of September 2021. So after we served the authorities on the 11th of October, we decided to then issue a notice of public action, public protest and demonstration to the police. The police got a notice and invited me, and we had a very fruitful discussion where they pleaded that we change the date. And in fact, we were going to have the protest on the 26th of October. But the police wrote to us and said we should do it on the 25th. And I said, no problem. So I had to just go back, get the other stakeholders informed so that we can do that on the 25th. And that was exactly what we did on the 25th. I know the downside or the unfortunate part of what happened, which really were things that should be expected in protest, was the fact that even before we would even start our demonstration, the people in the various community along that stretch had come out, particularly the youth, and were already blocking roads and burning ties. And if I later got to know that most of the people who were blocking the roads were even the trotro drivers. And some of them were claiming that if they will not go to job, then nobody must go to work on that day. But obviously, as a leader, when I heard that early in the morning, I just assured the police that once I get to the area, we are going to do everything possible to make sure that we de-escalate the situation. So, and when we're going, then we saw roadblocks ahead of us. And that was where we saw the police also. So together with the police, we went there. And I addressed the youth and told them that there was no need for them to remain on the streets, and that all of them should come with me so we can go to Otinibi so we can do the march. So they followed me. I mean, it took some time, to really cool their tempers, but that is what emotional intelligence and situational awareness requires. I mean, when people are angry, particularly in a circumstance of a protest, you just have to work around them to de-escalate the situation. And then from there, I then moved to Damfa. I think it was in Damfa that beyond the blocking of the road, I saw the first tie burning. That was what I saw in Damfa. So again, I had to get down, try to talk to them, talk them down. Whilst I was talking to them, some of them were still insisting on trying to burn more ties. But of course, like I said, the policemen were there with me, and we had to work with them together to de-escalate the situation and got them to follow us. So at Otinibi, we then took time to address the gathering and began to lead them on the protest. And this protest that we're now going, the police were the people ahead of us that were now, embarking on this walk. And the walk was extremely peaceful, extremely peaceful. And we did that until we got to Aimensa, where I addressed the community. And in fact, just when I was preparing to address the community, between that time and the time I started address was when we began the initial conversation, when the police was trying to give me an intel that, or not an intel, to inform me that they would want to have me after the demonstration at the region. And I said that obviously was not going to be possible, because from there I'll come to Parliament. So, and then they said, no, I need to come along with them. And I said, no.
At that point, they are not giving you any reason why they were
inviting. No. And of course, when you are not given any reason for invitation, you are not bound to respond to such invitations. So I recall that when I took the mic and I was finally speaking to the people, after making all my points, I made it very clear that police had indicated to me that they were inviting me and that I'm declining the invitation. And I want to assure them that they cannot arrest me because I'm not willing and ready to waive my parliamentary immunity for them. If they want to arrest me, they know what to do. So in other words, I was openly throwing a challenge to them that you know the law you need to use if you really want to arrest me. And I'm sure that probably might have angered them or something. So then if we say we can't arrest you, then we will arrest you for you to know that we can arrest you, or for whatever reason I can't tell. But my understanding of the law as someone who have been practicing for some time now is that you cannot arrest a person without telling the person the reasons for the arrest. I know that when you look at the sequence of events that I've narrated, obviously for those who might not have followed the demonstration from the time we began to the time it ended, you can easily confuse sequence of events and think that the real demonstration was the blocking of road and the burning of ties. I am very sure that people who probably were on social media or seeing some of those short videos, maybe at the police headquarters and others, they may be the people who may be calling the people on the ground that why is an MP leading a demonstration and burning ties and blocking roads? You know, so they probably may be directing that if that MP is doing that, then you may have to arrest the MP. Of course, and I agree. If the police saw me gathering ties and you know, and trying to spark fire on the road, yes, why not? I can't raise parliamentary immunity under those circumstances when right before them I am committing crime. You understand what I mean? Yeah. You know, but in this case, that wasn't what happened. In fact, when those things began, I wasn't even there. But even when I got there, I was the one who led the way to clear those things. And after clearing those things, before we actually started the demonstration.
The police's action was largely triggered by the challenge you threw.
I'm very sure. I don't think, I don't know. Maybe they probably might have some other reasons, I can't tell. You know, but, you know, the point is that we must understand our jobs. And everything we are doing is regulated by law. I am in parliament because of law. I mean, what I do here, everything is law. It is a house of law, and we are making laws, and we expect that the laws that we make, we ourselves respect those laws, and we expect that people who are law enforcement officers will respect those laws. We expect that judges who are going to enforce those laws or give interpretation to those laws would follow those laws to do so. So that is what we call the rule of law. Rule of law means everybody working in accordance with a certain legal framework. I mean, Article 117 and 118 of the Constitution makes it very clear that no criminal, let's say, a process could be executed on a member of parliament when he's on his way to parliament or from parliament or attending to parliament or attending at parliament. The purpose behind that law is that when a person is seized with duty as a member of parliament, you cannot serve those processes on him. And the law, there's a reason for which the law was given, so that people who are in this space can have some limited opportunity to do their work without being intimidated by the force of police. You know, so like I said, these matters are currently before the Privileges Committee, and I think I've even made just too many comments on this one already. Except to say that, the videos of what happened are all over the place. How the police attempted to arrest and all that. And that conduct is what I brought before Parliament, which has led to 2 of the officers summoned before the Privileges Committee. There may be more people, because I saw more people on that demonstration. I saw more people. Even the I think the director of, not the director of operation, I think he's an operation commander at the even national headquarters. I think Mr. Ahi, he was there. I saw him there. I saw him in the midst of the people. But I chose to file the specific complaint, in respect of these two, because they were the people I engaged from the beginning. I mean, the Identity Division and then the region. So I didn't know where the national operations found its way into the, end of the demonstration, and also one of those who were actually insisting. But I'm confident that when the hearing properly starts and we put all those videos before the Privileges Committee, the committee will have the powers to then subpoena and bring other people who are supposed to be there, who perhaps are not part of the initial complaints and so on and so forth. So let's leave it there for now. Okay. And then, yes.
Well, since you're asking, we'll spare you for that. But then the roads, back to the roads, you've protested. What has been the result? And if not any, what do you seek to do further?
Well, I think that it has already generated a lot of heat at the various agencies and institutions of government. I mean, it's one of the major things that I know the Assembly is concerned about now. Feeder Roads Department has been very, very worried about the situation and have been pushing the contractor to come on site to work. I've seen the contractor himself gone haywire, complaining all over the place about why we should embark on demonstration and so on and so forth, without taking responsibility of his own incapacity to deliver on the work that has been given him. And what I have done following that is to file an urgent question in Parliament, to bring the Minister for Road to Parliament to come and tell the people of Ghana the criteria they use in selecting contractors, like the contractor on the Imensa Amrehia Road, and in the events that they fail to deliver on those contracts, like this very person, what sanctions are there for such contractors? And all these ones is to ensure that we can hold the contractor accountable to the citizens living in that stretch of the road. And quite apart from that, I know the contractor has said that they were unable to work because of rains. As weather has been raining for the last 1 year in Ghana, it is only the viewers who can judge for themselves. But the last promise he made is that in 2 weeks they are going to be on that stretch.
Your MC is supposed to be helping you out in this situation. Do you think that you're having difficulty in getting this road fixed because you are an opposition MP?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I just think that government has not shown commitment to this, its own promises. Remember, it's government that declared first year of road and second year of road. It wasn't the MCE. The MCE is only an agent of government. So sometimes I pity her because I mean, things are not working, and there is no way she can actually look the government in the face and tell the government anything, because she is essentially an appendage of the government in the constituency. So what can she do? This, for example, this road was given out by Feeder Roads, a road of 11 million Ghana cedis. Where would the MC, what would the MCE do? The MC will only call the contractor. Contractor won't buy site. Into the Mumbai site, the MCE will say, oh, you're ready, and now you're sika. What would the MCE do? When I raise a question, she would have to be politically correct by making it look like, oh maybe because he's an opposition, that's why he's raising it or something. So she would have to do her politics, but that's unfortunate. But that is how it is. So if there is anyone who can stand with the people to demand for work and demand for accountability of government, then it will be me. Because trust me, if you go to Madina today, there is no evidence of first year of roads. There is no evidence of second year of roads. And so then one wonders, is Madina really part of Ghana? Is it part of the capital? Is the government really paying attention? Do they really want to do something with or for Madina, or they just want to pay lip services to Madina? Yeah, my view is that government has just neglected the entire community, and that is why I am on this mission to get government attention to Madina, and we will continue until Madina gets its fair share of national development.
So this is still Say Loud on GhanaWeb TV. We'll take a quick break here, and when we return, my guest remains the Member of Parliament for Madina, lawyer Francis-Xavier Sosu.
From the dawn of time, people have engaged in several businesses. With the onset of technology and innovation, life has relatively been made easier. By using debit or credit cards,
mobile banking.
Thank you. And your favorite, mobile money?
tech has indeed married business. On BizTech, we spend time with faces behind known and upcoming businesses in the country.
Learn more about the new technologies and innovation,
as well as find out about the trending issues in the world of business.
Join us as we serve you with a variety of compelling interviews, projects, and others right here on GhanaWeb TV.
Welcome back. I am with the Member of Parliament for Madina, lawyer Sosu, and our next issue has to do with legal education in Ghana. The 2021 Ghana School of Law exam result has brought about discussions around legal education in Ghana, and then I would like to get his view on these issues.
Well, I think the problem of legal education is that we haven't shown sufficient leadership in this area. We haven't shown leadership because I've always said and I maintain that if law school was a private school and I was the owner of that private school, I don't think that what has happened there from 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020 and even 2021, I'm going to spare anybody in management of my school in that manner. By now, my CEO should have been gone. So I've said it over and over again. Like the director of legal education should have resigned long ago. But you know we are in Ghana, South Africa. He will not resign. And then, if you are to allow them everything the same next year, the problem will recur and nobody really cares. We'll talk about it. It will come down and they will continue as business as usual. So it's a very, very unfortunate situation, and that's why I believe that leaving the situation to them at the law school will lead to no resolution, and that's why we are working very strongly from legislature here to introduce a private members bill to regulate legal education. So whatever we believe must be the way law must be run, very soon we should be able to have a bill that will deal with that situation. I think that the General Legal Council, as is presently constituted, definitely need to be dissolved. I mean, we need to replace it with something else. Legal education must be autonomous. It must be standing on its own and having the Council for Legal Education as the majority leader proposed recently. He was even proposing that we should have, it says we should look for, I think, a commission of legal education, of a commission of a sort that would give us a presidential commission to come up with the modalities, and I believe that once this private members bill is tabled, all people, individuals who may have concerns that they may want to bring on board to support the passage of that bill, they will come on board, and there will be a very broad what I would call community engagement that would make sure that we come up with a bill that can satisfy the needs and the aspirations of Ghanaians. What I have said, and I maintain that, is that every single law school or currently law faculty, for example, KNUST, Methodist University, if they have a law faculty, Presbyterian University, if they have a law faculty, Central University, if they have a law faculty, University of Ghana, these law faculties must be assessed on their merit, whether they have the appropriate faculty and they have the libraries, they have the infrastructure that can support training. If they do, they must be certified to be able to write or to run a professional law program, so that at the end of the day, any institution that replaces the legal education, the General Legal Council, with respect to regulation of legal education, would only be a regulator. And that regulator would set a unified bar exam that everybody will write annually. And those who pass are called to the bar. And then we establish a bar council that now take care of what I'll call regulation of standards of the practice for lawyers and I mean lawyers who are either members of the GBA or who are non-members of the GBA. So we have a big problem at hand. We need to amend our Act 32, which is the Legal Professions Act, which is going to be the starting point to reforming the entire regime of legal education that we have now. And I think we can do that through a private members bill. And that's what we will consider in Parliament.
Some 499 students are being denied access to go to the law school this year. They claim that they've passed, and last week I was here, you joined the protest, you were coming right back from court. I don't know if I'm right to say you have a thing for protests.
Well, protests are very democratic means to press home your demand, particularly when you have a leader that seems not to listen to the voices of democracy, you know.
And in this case, you would mean the president?
Well, I mean, if that is what it means, I think that if you don't have a listening president, then you must bring on bear the full force within a democratic space to get him to listen. And that's a very normal thing. That's why medical doctors will say we'll go on strike. And that's why you will see teachers say we'll go on strike. That's why people, because sometimes when they negotiate, their negotiations are a force on dead ears.
And to narrow this down to the president, a lot of people have high expectations of persons like you within the legal fraternity when it comes to this issue. Some people expect the president to have to be doing better in the whole conversation. What is your position on how the president has responded to all this?
I mean, all that glitters is not gold. So, I mean, merely having expectation of people doesn't mean that if you thought they were gold, merely having expectation means they were really good. Because many people believe that our president was a human rights person, and that we should be recording the highest human rights protection in Ghana. Everything should be fine. But unfortunately, he
has not proven that.
Oh, obviously he hasn't. I mean, it's obvious that he hasn't. I mean, we've had very serious issues, I mean, the last 5 years. And we don't need to rehash all of them because there are very critical things that we have now that we need to pay attention to. And for these 499 students, I think that they deserve to be called to the Ghana School of Law for them to be admitted. And that has been my call. I have petitioned the speaker, and most likely that we be working on the petition with the students to ensure that this 499 will have, will be heard. They apply to be heard on Parliament. In Parliament, and we'll make sure that we can reach out to the Ghana School of Law to consider the plight of this 499, even if it means that they will be on a kind of a waiting list, or there's going to be some arrangement the school is going to do with this 499. The school will have to do. Now I understand that I saw in some news reports that they are in court. I don't know to what extent that is true, but otherwise we would also be waiting to see what the outcome of the court case will be. But whatever we can do using the parliamentary tools, we will also do.
There are the likes of Professor Kwaku Aza, who says there's nothing stopping the law faculties from running their professional course, and that he expects one of these law faculties to start it, and then once maybe the General Legal Council rises against it, then other issues can emanate from there. Do you subscribe to that? Well,
that may be, of course, that is a more revolutionary way of doing it. And whilst I agree that there's really nothing in law that stops them, there is a limitation, because then they will not be able to call it like a professional law course. Because when you look at Act 32, the running of a professional law course, the prescription of the courses that must be done on a professional law course are all within the domain of the General Legal Council and under the Board of Legal Education. So if the university goes ahead and run, you can run it and run everything and run all the courses. But for the purpose of certification, the only institution that can certify that these people that you've trained are people who can be called to the bar currently is the Board of Legal Education and the General Legal Council. So that is a policy problem. So not until there's a review or an amendment to Act 32, that may not work.
Moving away from legal education but then sticking to the law, there is a new IGP and some people will say there's a new sheriff in town. Things seem to be moving at a very faster pace. Some celebrities have been arrested, they were remanded and all that. But then from your position as a human rights lawyer, some people are raising concerns that the issue of remand is somehow, some way turning into a sort of punishment that the courts and the police are using against some people. What is your take on the Satawale issue? Well,
that is a concern that I share, and it's a very unfortunate concern. And I share that concern not only because of Shatawale and all that, but I have personally been involved in matters in very, very recent times when a client of mine was arrested and was kept in detention for like 8 days. And when I insisted that he be sent to court, I was told that they've been trying to get an assignment for court, and it took forever for that assignment to be done. And on a particular day, I went there and even threatened that I was going to write a petition to the CJ against them if they don't get us a court, after which I left the place angrily. After I left, I think about some 20 minutes later, the investigator calls me and says that, oh, well, finally, we now have a court. We've been there. Your client has been remanded. I'm like seriously? So I realize, and these things sometimes happen at the blind side even of the judges. Because when you appear before the judge, all the judge knows is that this is the first time you're appearing before her. So whatever you are telling her, I mean, she's most likely to oblige. You know, so most often than not, I think that our justice system has become a tool for injustice in many instances. And I feel extremely sad about that. And what happened in the case of Shatawale, for example, is a case study. I don't see why when you arrest someone, which you have a right to do as a matter of law, you would not want to follow the same law to deal with the person. Because the law says that within 24 hours, within 48 hours, if you don't release him on bail, you put him before court. When you put him before court and you arraign him before court, there is an automatic right to bail. Bail is a matter of right, even though that right is subjected to the discretion of the judge. Now, when we say the right is subject to the discretion of the judge, we are saying that there are certain criteria or conditions prescribed under Act 30 that the judge will need to consider to either admit or not admit someone to bail. And if the conditions are satisfied, denying those bail will be an unreasonable violation of the rights of the person.
And you would equate the Shatawale's incident to one of such?
Absolutely. So for example, he says that the person must be a Ghanaian. Is he a Ghanaian? Yes. He says that I must have a fixed place of abode. Has he got a fixed place of abode? Not necessarily a Ghanaian. That's the part of a condition. But you must have a fixed place of abode. Has he got a fixed place of abode? Yes, he does. You need to have independent sureties with sufficient means. Has he got independent sureties? Yes. Do they have sufficient means? Yes. He must prove that he would not interfere with investigation. There was nothing that showed that Shatawale was going to interfere with investigation. And in any event, at the time, there was nothing to investigate, because you are simply saying that you made a publication, which you have. So what are you investigating anymore? Are you writing to Microsoft or to Mark Zuckerberg to give you the encrypted whatever? What are you writing? What kind of investigation are you doing? You have nothing extra to do on those matters. You understand? So clearly, denying bail under those circumstances, in my view, was unreasonable violation of his rights. And so, yeah, and that's what I've said. So I think that we must move. Society is growing. The more we behave in this manner, the more we are taking Ghana backwards. Every society is growing and we are moving forward. We must be seen to become more proactive, more receptive to issues of procedural justice and so on and so forth. If you say I'm wrong, no problem. This is what the law says you should do with me. So deal with me in accordance with the law. And then if I raise legal challenge, you don't need to be worried. Be patient and let's go to the legal challenge. After that, you can still go ahead. And that is what makes societies grow. But when we remain as if we are a subtle military regime, where yes, we have the law, but we really do not follow the law. Okay, we believe in constitutional democracy, but we don't believe in constitutionalism.
And you think this is where we are tilting towards?
Absolutely. Oh, we believe that with the constitution. Yeah, we believe in the constitution. But would we believe in the values within the law? We are not. For example, I've made that example before that. For example, you have a Legal Professions Act, and we established a General Legal Council. And the council that you have established, you have made the chairman of the council the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice, who is the head of the judiciary, is the head or the chairman of the General Legal Council. Now, when the General Legal Council takes a decision which is wrong, and you challenge that decision, it's the Chief Justice that will empanel a court to listen to that decision. I mean, are we real? I mean, we need to grow. If you talk about separation of powers, and there's a reason why in every democracy separation of powers is so critical. Because that is the only way you can hold each other accountable without necessarily blurring the lines or the contours between the various institutions. So such duplicity reduces the effectiveness of every society, the kind of checks and balances that must exist in a progressive democracy. So I think that we need to grow.
Okay. The president is in his final term, the first year, which will make it 5 years of his under his leadership. What are your comments? Well,
I think that the president has done the best that he can. I mean, obviously, what we are experiencing now is the best of the president. So you can be sure that we cannot expect anything more than he has done. And naturally, everything that grows, also dies. It's a natural progression. There is a rise and there is a fall. If this is the best of the president, you can be sure that we can't expect anything.
So for the next 3 years ahead of us?
I'm not a prophet of doom, and I don't intend predicting doom for Ghana. But it's not going to be any better. I mean, it's not going to be any better because the trajectory of governance does not suggest that there is hope at the end of the tunnel. I can assure you that the biggest win for Ghana would be a vote to change government. So you can put new set of people with new set of ideas, with new set of approaches.
And you'll be talking about the NDC.
To deal with the issues and the challenges of the people of Ghana. Look, you can take every sector of the economy. Nothing is working.
2024 is, one would say, too far away, but very close.
Yeah, but JM is winning. Yeah.
We'll live to see. But then you fought very hard for your seat. Is Xavier Sosu retaining Madina in 2024?
I'll leave that to the good people of Madina. I believe that they'll retain me because they will not have done a good job. But I want to leave it to their own discretion.
Yes, so you heard it from the Member of Parliament for Madina, lawyer Francis-Xavier Sosu. He leaves everything at the end of the day to his constituency. He hopes that in 2024 they retain him. After this interview with a member of parliament for Madina, some CID officers are reported to have stormed a church in his constituency where lawyer Francis-Xavier Sosu had turned up to worship. GhanaWeb TV cameras happened to have arrived at the scene and recorded the events as they unfolded. This, just as we stated earlier, this is the arrival of some members, some of the minority members. Yes, and this is the minority whip, Honorable Muntaka Mubarak. He's arrived here, and as expected and as announced, we expect that more of them will be coming any moment from now. The MP himself is still in there. Honorable Xavier Sosu is still in there. We will try and speak to the minority chief whip to find out what he's here for. So what's happening? What did you hear? So yes, the MP is actually coming out. He has been brought out by the minority chief whip. And there he goes. There he goes. He's going into the car. He's going into the car with the minority chief whip, Honorable Muntaka Mubarak, and off they go. As it stands now, we are yet to see the police that were initially here or the security as it is, but then that is the minority chief whip's car that just came for the MP, and they are gone.
We invited Honorable Francis Sosu. You know, he's a reverend minister, so we invited him as our guest speaker. So he was here ministering. All of a sudden we saw a car park, and then armed men came out of the car. There were many. Yeah. No, actually, I think more than 10. Yeah.
Were they in uniform?
No, they were not in uniform, and then they surrounded the place and were asking for Sosu. They said I should bring him out. And I said he's ministering. So when it's done, then we know what to do. They keep pressing that they are here to take him to the police headquarters. So I asked them to produce their, warrant. They couldn't produce it.
Did they show any ID as well?
Yeah, 2 of them showed me their ID.
And they were which people?
That they are from the CID headquarters.
CID headquarters.
That's what they said.
And that is what the ID showed?
Yeah, the ID showed.
Okay,
yeah.
So then what happened?
So I asked them to wait. When we close, then they can take him. So when he finished ministering, then I took over to pray for him and the church. Yeah. So after that, it's like the members, some people in this constituency also came around, and then lots of people and some minor confusion outside because I'm inside preaching, so you know. So then finally, some officers came from the constituency together with his party executives, and then he waved at me that he's going to come. That's all.
So there you have it. Keep visiting www.ghanaweb.com and stay tuned to GhanaWeb TV as we promise to bring you all the developments related to this story.